TV. Now serving Kingston and St.
You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious
about business.
Serious about business.
JAMPRO aims to increase the export of non-traditional products and, of course, support the development of Jamaican MSMEs. To that end, they've partnered with the BATV. Stay with us.
It is good to be here, and it's a pleasure joining you for the launch of the third iteration of this program. This morning's event is a fitting tribute to the industry players and signals a great promise for the micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises and the importance that has been placed on export diversification. This launch seeks to build on the success of Exports Max 1 and 2, which together recorded over $2.2 billion in sales. Indeed, its previous success sets the stage for the implementation of this third iteration, which we are now undertaking on a much larger scale. Let me take this opportunity to commend the JAMPRO on conceptualizing and taking us this far with this program. And let's welcome our new Export Max partners, the Jamaica Business Development Corporation and the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association. With their strengths, we'll be joining forces to improve and efficiently manage and implement the program. And I'd like to thank our sponsors and future participants. You have signed up for a game-changing program that will have national impact. Jamaica has strong export potential and growing export capacity. The imperative for achieving greater export performance and thus realizing export-led growth and global competitiveness in our exports as part of the export strategy is therefore of extreme importance as we strive for national prosperity and wealth creation. In the globalized economy, it is critical that Jamaica becomes highly organized in order to be fully integrated into the world economy in a manner that allows us to elevate our position on the global value chain and supply chains. Jamaica has been standing still for too long. Standing still while our trading partners have been taking steps to implement best practices for business and trade-friendly environments. This ministry, therefore, through its agencies, is seeking to attain greater diversification in the export industry by achieving higher value addition in priority tech sectors, increasing the value of non-traditional export of goods through increased volume and higher value addition, increasing the contribution of services exports as a percentage of our overall exports, including our creative industries, and increasing penetration in existing markets and accessing new and emerging markets. Let me add to that the specifics, some specifics which I want you to implant in your minds. There are three distinct underdeveloped markets. Let me just mention what those three are. The tourism industry. Too much of the fresh and processed foods that they consume are coming in on the planes with the tourists. And we have the capacity to supply them. Second, CARICOM. 16 countries in CARICOM. All of them are net importers of food, fresh and processed. Yet, we export precious little to CARICOM, and we have the privilege of exporting it duty-free. And what's the third significant market? The Jamaican diaspora. In Canada, the United States, and England, the market is as big as Jamaica. Somebody from London told me recently that because they cannot get what they want in Jamaica, they import the stuff from Africa and slap a Jamaican label on it. Castor oil, by the way. a lot of castor oil that is now being sold internationally with the Jamaica label on it. The raw material is not from Jamaica. Unacceptable. So as government, we are committed to promoting brand Jamaica to the world, identifying new trade and investment opportunities in order to spur economic growth. My ministry will continue to work with critical stakeholders to enable through exports. One of the things that the ministry is committed to doing is changing the soft infrastructure that will support the growth of trading across borders. To this end, a few weeks ago, we launched a trade facilitation portal that will house the information about all the various processes that underpin trading across our borders. It is our vision that the Trade Information Portal will be the central source of information that will ensure that if someone is an exporter, or even if they are dreaming about being an exporter, they need only to visit this one place that will provide them with all the knowledge they need to navigate the trading process. On the heels of this, we are also excited about the progress that we are making in implementing a single trade electronic window for the government, which will see all the various government processes integrated into a single online system that will allow for all trade-related transactions to be done online, supported by a robust risk management system to protect the country's borders and its reputation overseas. And so Export Max is only one more prong in the government's network of activities that will allow for the framework for each and every exporter to experience success, and ultimately for us to achieve economic growth and prosperity in Jamaica.
Dodge & Global Marketing Strategy Consulting. Marketing isn't a department, it's a system. Having an integrated and cohesive marketing plan allows each marketing technique to support the others, thereby creating a synergy of branding and growth for your business. Dodge & Global can assist you in making smart decisions with lasting value in regard to the following key decisions. Determine if there is a paying market for your products and services. Craft long-term and short-term marketing goals. Define marketing campaigns. Create marketing strategies. Select powerful marketing techniques to reach your audience. Choose a brand and image that reflects your core message. Design marketing materials. Design internet marketing strategies. Track marketing results to determine the strongest techniques. Because it's so important to create an integrated marketing strategy that will bring in business. Get advice and mentoring from people who are already successful marketing experts. Our team can help you make smarter, more effective decisions. Let's have a conversation. Contact us at email info@dodgen.global. Website https://dodgen.global.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show, and Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV. Serious about business.
So, welcome. So let me start out by asking Dan, Export Max, I know Export Max started within Jampro. Why Export Max 3 and what makes it different this time around?
Okay, thanks Claude, and good morning ladies and gentlemen. We are so excited to be here at the launch of Export Max 3. Why are we doing Export Max 3? It's actually one of the programs that I'm proudest of in my time at Jampro. I think that, as the minister said, export is one of our critical pieces, is critical in our lifeblood. It's in our DNA. We have to export. We're a small island nation. We have tremendous products. We need to take them to the world in a more organized, systematic, way where we respect standards, we understand the adaptability of our products to market demands, where we understand the markets that we are trying to penetrate. Export Max is that program. The results that we got out of Export Max 1 and 2 show what a deliberate program can do, where you start by diagnosing what does the product need to be adapted to market demand, what evolution needs to go on in the company itself. So it's not just the product, but it's also the management that must have the right mindset to penetrate international markets. So we're identifying that demand, identifying the market trends, helping the companies to adapt their products, and that mentorship, which we brought on in Export Max 2, is a critical component, because the ones who are successful must help the ones who have not started yet or who have not yet been successful. So that was the innovation of Export Max 2. And what we decided in Export Max 3 is that to more than double the number of companies in the program, we really couldn't do it alone anymore, because Export Max is a really labor-intensive and brain-intensive project. It needs a lot of time spent hand-holding companies, explaining, energized that we have two such fantastic partners, as well as the other sponsors who have come on board, because we need more expertise, we need more hands on deck. Export is not easy. Standards in the international market are constantly becoming more critical, more difficult. So we needed partners on board who could help us to interpret some of the issues on the international market, some of the standards. You see, Bureau of Standards is on board, and also to help galvanize those exporters to greater effort and to greater understanding. And then we needed the business development side that JBUC can bring to really help companies to develop their business plans, develop their loan applications, to become more formalized, develop their bookkeeping acumen. We think this is one of the most important programs that JAMPRO and the country have ever created, because we think that this is an integrated way of taking our MSMEs the next step forward. We are very excited, and we just want to have more participation from the MSME community, because sometimes you don't know what you don't know, and it's when you start on that journey of trying to understand how do I get from point A to point B that you start to realize what it is you don't know and how and where you can find help. So really this is a plea to and a stimulus and an encouragement and almost a demand of the SME sector listening to us today. You need to get on board, because this program can change your life professionally and change your export horizon.
Okay. Valerie, you decided without hesitation, came on board. Why did you see training and capacity building as such important components for exporters?
Our logo speaks for what we do, which is business development in the fulsomeness of it, and how can we help you. So we know for sure that capacity building is even beyond that thing called training. It's really getting into the nitty-gritty of the companies, the enterprises, looking at the concept, if it makes sense, whether local or external market, putting the proper structures in place, and as Dan says, formalizing the business. It means governance have to be in place. You have to know your numbers to know what stories are coming out. Worst, if you're thinking of exporting, you have to be really secure in moving forward. So standards must be in place. Governance must be in place. And you must be thinking business. And I agree with Dan, we have to get over that hump of doing a little thing until some big job comes along, because it's not going to come along. So it means that we have to be innovative and we have to be on target for moving forward. We're going to be looking, as we said, as we had agreed, at all the innovative industries that have the possibilities for export. So food, niche markets, high quality, value-added products, non-food, services, certainly the technology-based industries, and the creative industries in all aspects have to be part of that big umbrella. Our mandate is to help hesitate. They need to come forward. If they're not in that lane, it means you're going to prepare them for whatever is appropriate. So there is no reason to sit and wonder if. You need to come forward and let us work together and see which lane you are really in. And if you happen to move into this fast track, no, that's wonderful. If not, you're on the way to preparation. Because we must export. Dan keeps saying export or that. I think we have been in coma because we're waiting to die.
When we look at the program, or we look at life, we always like to say nobody born big. We all are a product of training, exposure, and experience. And you almost need all three in the right combination to be successful. So in the area of mentorship and advocacy, I think JMEA coming on board, which will have a portfolio of businesses that are already exporting, play a very important role. So I'd love to hear from you, Metri. Tell us in plain terms, how do you see the JMA supporting this effort and your decision to come on board?
Well, when I heard Diane and Valerie speak, I realized that what we have here is a perfect marriage.
Okay.
2 women and 1 man. No, I'm joking. No, seriously, what we have is a perfect marriage here. Because what we have is the JMEA that has the base of membership. Our membership base is about 400 companies, most of which and many of which are small to medium-sized companies, which is the base that we need. Then we have Valerie, who is going to do the business development process, and then Jumper that's going to deal with the export market. What we bring to the table is a lot of hand-holding. We are about solving problems and solving issues. So they're going to have issues. There's no question about it. I think one of the ways we could say it is that we're a big brother to the companies, and we hold their hands and we walk with them through the process. We just go, Valerie will take them to a particular stage, and then we will take them from there until we're ready to hand them off to Jampro to really go and do the export. But I wanted to say that the JMEA is fully committed to this program. That's why we have joined. We recognize how important it is. And as Diane said, it is probably one of the most important initiatives that any agency in Jamaica has put in place. The numbers speak for themselves, and we hope to be a part of this process going forward for a long time to come.
How does one apply for the program? Could you give some thoughts on that?
Thank you. I was hoping you'd ask those questions. So the form are also available from the various agencies and on our website. www.dobusinessjamaica.com. You can download this expression of interest form and send it in, and we will be happy to contact you and start the journey with you, because this is a journey. It's a 3-year program. This is really about helping you through a process and on a journey to success. Tell your associates, people you know who have a product or who even have an idea. They can start talking to JBDC from the idea stage. So let's create a movement that can change export.
Thank you, Dan. So I'll throw it out. Any final thoughts?
This is an example, the collaboration, the example how we in Jamaica should work together. Because no one institution or person has all the skills, all the information. And until we start putting the ego behind the door and working together, we're not going to move. So I'm celebrating from JBDC the kind of collaboration that we have agreed to have between our agencies. I think it's a good move, and we know success is down the lane.
Metri, any final thoughts?
In closing, I would ask everybody in this room, when you leave here today, call 5 persons that you know that are in business. Let us be oversubscribed. Let us have that problem. Let us reach back out to our sponsors and tell them that we need more from them, because this is good for Jamaica.
Thank you, Metri.
We have some Export Max graduates in the audience, and I think it's important not only to hear from us, but to hear from people who are actually on the program. So dare I say that Rita Hilton is on his
Yeah, they're going to be on the program. Yeah,
So Rita, Omar, I think you're all going to talk later on. So.
All right, a round of applause for the head of agencies. Thank you very much.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life. Highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
I'm going to invite some past Export Max participants to speak. Rita Hilton from Carita, Jamaica, and Omar Azan, CEO of Boss Furniture. So in the spirit of ladies first, I'm going to ask Rita Hilton to come and just give a couple of remarks about her experience with Export Max.
I think this is a great opportunity. Having benefited from Export Max 2, I'd like to highlight some of the things that made it so important for me and what the results have been like. It was important for me because it allowed me to step into the Caribbean export market. Carita has been in business for 34 years, and our whole business is aligned with exports. We were primarily involved in fresh produce exports, but recently we've been adding value to Jamaican products and trying to build up that component of bringing more value to Jamaica. Now, with Export Max 2, what did I benefit from? Going into the Caribbean market, which I didn't know at all, and I have to tell you that out of that, we have one concrete market which we opened in the Bahamas. And that partner has been so impressed with our output that they have come with a proposal to invest in our company and buy equity into our company. I learned that I wasn't really completely prepared to take advantage of all the opportunities. So if you're going into Export Max 3, come with an open mind. You think you know it, you don't know it. Learn, absorb, and execute. You need to have a partner on the ground in the territory that you're going to be working with that will teach you about that market and the market needs. It's not Jamaica, and it is not the globe. It is a very special type of market, and each market has its own needs. So keep an open mind, learn from the opportunities. What was wonderful is the amount of work that Jampro put in before we went into the markets. And that was the critical success of the Export Max 2. Into every territory that we went, there were buyers available, and it wasn't the underlings that came to the market opportunities. They were high level personnel that came to talk business and to do business. The other thing that I learned so much from is the capacity building. You think you know how to run a business? Well, you don't, because the way you start is not the way you grow and keep on growing. You see all this white hair? That comes from years and years of learning. I started as a high school teacher, and our exports have reached close to $3 million US. And those are sales. That is not money to spend. That's money that you invest back in your business after you've paid the expenses. So don't think that you've achieved success and can drive a Mercedes-Benz. I still drive a pickup, okay?
I'll just say that for me, for my company, it's been an amazing experience. The team has been behind. There are times when I wasn't even up to doing some of the things, and they came and sat in my office and said, Omar, listen, we need you to get this thing done. and they would push me to do it. Today, I'll say historical. This is our first time in history that our company has receivables. Today, I checked it this morning, from 14 different countries owing me money at the end of this month to pay me, to pay my suppliers, where I think at the end of this month, I can probably pay all the suppliers I owe from just a foreign exchange earning. So that is a huge, huge, huge difference than where I was a few years ago. This is an excellent thing that JAMPRO is doing. I'll say it. You know me, I talk the truth every time I come up on the podium to speak. And, you know, we need to just get everybody behind this. Our Jamaican people, our staff in our factories, we need to push our exports to get this country going. Thank you.
I am inspired and excited this morning. And I want, on behalf of the entire team, JAMPRO, JMEA, JBDC, I just want to say thank you all for coming out and hearing this program and participating in this launch. So we're going to take you into the Caribbean, Europe, and the USA to sell your goods and services and to return with those all-important contracts and to deliver on the promise that you would have made to be a champion exporter. I expect this program will be a positive, life-changing experience for you and your businesses. So where do we go from here? The steps are very easy. We are inviting all business owners here to complete the registration expression of interest form. Following the expression of interest, you'll be required to complete a more in-depth application form. The deadline for submission will be January 30, 2019. Final selection of our participants will be done by March 15, 2019. And by April, MOUs with all the participants will be signed, and that's when the real work begins. But it will be exciting, it will be fun.
This has been the launch of Export Max 3, and I've been your host, Theodore Henry. Keep watching Business Access TV, serious about business.
Do you want to build your company's capacity or export your products or services to new global markets? Then you can be a part of Export Max 3, an enterprise development program for Jamaican companies. Sign up today. Applications close January 31, 2019. Expand your business for export growth. Visit dobusinessjamaica.com for details. Export Max 3. Grow beyond borders. It's brought to you by JAMPRO, JMEA, and JBDC.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
One of the keys to ending child poverty is addressing poverty in the household from which it often stems. Access to quality social services must be a priority. Powerful words from United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres. Here in Jamaica, one of the vehicles used to eradicate poverty has been the Program of Advancement through Health and Education, PATH. In this year's budget, $8.03 billion has been allocated for PATH to continue its provision of social services and benefits for children, their families, the disabled, and the elderly. As we observe International Day for the Eradication of Poverty, we implore those who need help to contact the Ministry of Labor and Social Security for assistance.
Look inside the drum. Those are the Aedes aegypti larvae, the one that causes dengue fever. If all of these larvae mature to be adults, and if the female larva bites someone with the dengue fever, it will acquire the dengue virus. And if that mosquito bites you, you will get it.
Dengue fever? Yes. Help prevent the spread of dengue.
Clean up your home and community.
Destroy mosquito breeding sites. Protect yourself from mosquito bites. Prevent dengue fever.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, October 17th. The 11,700 square meter new offices of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade is now complete. The ministry's new headquarters is based at 20 Port Royal Street in downtown Kingston. The 11-story building consists of a 2-story annex complex, a generator room, boundary wall, and parking area. It was built by the Jiangsu Jiangdu Construction Group Company Limited of China. Speaking yesterday at the official handover ceremony, Foreign Affairs Minister Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith said the new building was an important outcome of China's commitment to support Jamaica's economic growth and development.
We will certainly have a more welcoming environment in receiving our bilateral and international partners. Our capacity to host meetings and consultations with both public sector agencies and members of the private sector will be enhanced.
Senator Johnson-Smith said staff members of the ministry were also excited to be part of the modernization of downtown with its prosperity. On Wednesday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness officially opened the 4-meter-wide one-lane Chesterfield Bridge. Work on the $59 million bridge, which was erected over a section of the Wagwater River, began in the summer of 2018 and was completed recently. It is one of many bridges repaired or replaced under the Major Infrastructure Development Program. Mr. Holness used the function to remind residents that unplanned settlements would not be tolerated in the new Jamaica.
Going forward, we cannot allow more informal settlements and informal communities to emerge. The government has to get ahead of that. The government has to put a stop to it, but also get ahead of it by itself taking up the challenge, the duty.
Operating in the St. Andrews South Police Division state of emergency are to be extended. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the announcement during a sitting of the House of Representatives on Tuesday.
We will, hopefully by the end of this week, Minister of National Security, have the Gazette published with the extended hours. We're going to seek to make it similar to what exists in
food restaurants and tavern licensed establishments. Petroleum filling stations, pharmacies and churches go up to 11 p.m. So too supermarkets, grocery shops, haberdasheries and other public places. The island is projected to earn $3.7 billion through tourism by year end. Current data from the Jamaica Tourist Board shows growth in stopover arrivals for September to December of 7% or over 807,000 visitors. This would represent a total of 2.68 million arrivals or an 8.4% increase over 2018. With stopover and cruise arrivals combined, the island is expected to welcome over 4.3 million visitors by December 2019. The earnings from the full year of stopover arrivals alone is estimated at $3.49 billion or a 12% increase over 2018. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett revealed the figures Sunday night at the 15th anniversary celebration of Sunset at the Palms Resort in Westmoreland. He said the growth in arrivals and earnings were underpinned by strategic targets set in the 5x5x5 plan to bring 5 million visitors and earn $5 billion in 5 years, or by 2021. The country has already seen 4.5 of the 5 million visitors and 3.7 of the $5 billion in earnings. Data also shows that overall, Jamaica's winter season is trending strong. The Canadian market is up by 29,000 new seats. There's double-digit growth from the United States, and South America and the Caribbean are also performing well. All councillors from municipalities across the island are expected to participate in the upcoming 7th Regional Platform on Disaster Risk Reduction in the Americas and the Caribbean, RP20. These conferences bring together regional government officials and heads of disaster management and risk reduction agencies to foster collaboration on best practices. Local Government Minister Desmond McKenzie says close to 1,600 delegates from 60 or more countries are expected to participate in the event. The impact of climate change on the Caribbean will be among the topical issues examined and discussed at the RP20.
On the world stage, climate change is not an unexpected event. It is here. And already we are seeing the effects of climate change.
Minister McKenzie made the remarks at a recent meeting of the St. Anne Municipal Corporation. The 7th RP20 conference is a 3-day event which is slated to be held at the Montego Bay Convention Center in St. James from July 8 to 10, 2020. It is being organized by the local government ministry. The theme for the conference is Building Resilient Economies in the Americas and the Caribbean. The regional platform is being hosted in the Caribbean for the first time. And finally, the Women Incorporated Crisis Center will benefit from proceeds of this year's staging of the Civil Service Week 5K Run Walk. The centers, which operate across the island, provide assistance to victims of sexual abuse, harassment, and human trafficking. The 5K Run Walk will be held on Saturday, November 16, starting at Emancipation Park in Kingston. Sponsors include the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service, First Heritage Cooperative Credit Union Limited, and Running Events Jamaica. It's part of the broader celebration of Civil Service Week to be held between November 17 and 23. This year's events are being held under the theme, Building and Sustaining a Culture of Excellence. At a recent media launch, Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Dr. Nigel Clark, said the event would send a positive signal to the country.
We depend on the civil service for just about everything. And if you think about the public sector, which is broader than the civil service, the public sector delivers to us services that make life possible and make life function. And we are always interested and focused on a public sector that can deliver these services in more efficient ways.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
This is the Aedes aegypti mosquito that spreads the Zika, chikungunya, and dengue viruses. Search for its breeding sites and destroy them. A message from the Ministry of Health.
It's the month in which we celebrate our heritage, a great legacy. What better way to take pride in our culture than by getting timely information about one of the island's symbols?
Moving away from the British monarchy and into self-governance, Jamaica needed to establish its own identity. And in doing so, national emblems and symbols were created that represent our history, values, goals, and who we are as a people. Among them was the arms of Jamaica, sometimes referred to as the coat of arms. There are 8 elements to this majestic symbol: the crest, supporter, shield, helmet, torse, mantling, motto, and the design. Each represent an important part of our journey as a country. Take, for example, the shield. The red cross on the white background represents the flag of England, a nod to the fact we were once under British rule. And while the pineapples, which were imported to the island, bear no relation to our indigenous fruits, 5 golden pineapples were added to give a royal or stately look. The shield is the premier component of any arms and usually appears in the center of the assemblage. Another portrayal of Jamaica's British colonial period is a helmet and mantle. They represent the royal helmet of the British monarchy and bear similar design to the royal coat of arms. Their relevance today may lie in the fact Jamaica still pledges allegiance to the Queen of England. The tenacity and strength of the people is depicted in the crocodile, a fearless spirit not deterred by obstacles, a fight to the end for progress. Referred to as the crest, the crocodile takes its place on top of the arms of Jamaica, resting on what's called the torse. The symbol of the crocodile is used by the Jamaica Defense Force as its premier cap badge, and the Bank of Jamaica also uses a crocodile as the keeper of the keys to its vault and guardian to the country's finances. One of the indigenous features of the arms takes the form of 2 of its outer components, tainas. The female taina takes her place on the right while her male counterpart appears on the left. Together they are the supporter and believed to be the first settlers of Jamaica, migrating from South America somewhere around 700 to 1000 AD. Taina were short and muscular and wore little clothes. Today, some of their practices and cultures are still in use in Jamaica. And as other nations began to settle on the island, we became a country of mixed race, which led us to accept our revised motto, out of many, one people. The arms of Jamaica is one of the oldest national arms in the world. In fact, we were the first British colony to receive our own. It was granted under the Royal Warrant on February 3, 1661. The arms was originally designed by William Sandcroft, who then became the Archbishop of Canterbury in 1677. There has been 3 documented changes to the arms of Jamaica in 1692, 1957, and 1962. Today, the arms of Jamaica appears on every denomination of local currency, on the passport of all citizens, and all other national documents. It is a stamp, an authentication of who we are as a people, and the final seal of governmental approval.
It's the 9th staging of the JIS Heritage Competition, and this year we're talking slavery and reparation. Entries are now open, so listen up. Primary and prep school students, this is what you should do. Imagine that you are one of the 7 national heroes. Make your case for Jamaica to be compensated for the effects of slavery. Answer this question in an essay of 400 to 500 words and submit using the application form on our website, jis.gov.jm. Entrants must be aged 9 to 12 years old. Secondary students, the poster competition is for you. Submit your digital or illustrated posters to depict the theme, Jamaica, a case for reparation. The photo competition is open to tertiary students in accredited Jamaican institutions. Send us a photo, also representing the theme, Jamaica, a case for reparation. All entries should be submitted using the application form on the JIS website. For more information, contact 876-922-3590, extension 2137 or 2132. You may also email heritageessay@jis.gov.jm, heritageposter@jis.gov.jm, and heritagephoto@jis.gov.jm. Deadline for entries is Monday, October 28. Go ahead, express yourself in the JIS Heritage Competition 2019.
Did you know that Jamaica's national bird only lives on our island? Did you also know that it was called the God Bird by the first inhabitants of Jamaica? Get more details next.
Look, do you see it? Can you tell which bird this is? There are over 300 species of hummingbirds in the world, and Jamaica has 4 types. Our national bird, the doctor bird, is one of those 4, and it's endemic to the island. That means it's only found right here in Jamaica. According to sources at the Institute of Jamaica, in 1962, a committee was established to consider the recommendations for the national emblems of the country. It was at that level that the red-billed streamer-tail hummingbird, or Dr. Bird, was chosen to be Jamaica's national bird.
We actually have two species of streamer-tails. One is the red-billed streamer-tail, one is the black-billed streamer-tail. The red-billed streamer-tail and the black-billed streamer-tail is considered by some authorities as two separate species. Here in Jamaica, we still consider them to be two species.
The red-billed streamer-tail can be found across most of the island except the eastern tip, where you'll find the black-billed streamer-tail. Hummingbirds' nests are made from small leafy materials woven together with cobwebs. There are about 2 eggs per clutch or grouping, usually one male and one female.
Hummingbirds are actually sexually dimorphic. In other words, there are two different forms for male and females. The male is actually a lot more flashy.
Jamaicans call the red-billed streamer-tail the Dr. Bird because of the appearance of the male, with its black crest and 2 iconic tail feathers, resembling the top hat and coat tails of doctors in the past. The male Dr. Bird also has shimmering green feathers on the chest and back, and a bright red bill with a black tip. The female looks very different because she has a short tail, white chest feathers, and slightly green feathers on the back. The female's bill is also dark brown with red at the base.
You can actually find males without a tail, and there are several reasons for this. One, it could be a young male, right? Born earlier this year, for example, it's going to take a while before those tail feathers actually grow in. And sometimes you'll actually see some with very short tail, which means it's growing in. Another reason they might lack a tail is that they might have molted it. That is, they change their feathers. After the feathers get worn out, they actually drop them and a new set of feathers actually grows in. Sometimes you'll find a male with one tail feather. It lost it for one reason or the other. You know, it broke off. They could be fighting with each other and actually lost a tail feather. Hummingbirds, for their size, I mean, they're very tiny birds, but they're probably one of the most aggressive groups of birds in the entire world. The reason for this aggressive behavior is because of food scarcity. They have a group of flowers which they'll visit throughout the day because it takes some time for the nectar to replenish. Sometimes about half an hour, sometimes about an hour or longer. So what they do, they'll feed along a particular route, taking different flowers as they go along. And so once they finish feeding, they'll defend that area until it replenishes.
Hummingbirds flap their wings in a figure-8 motion, allowing them to change direction quickly as well as hover. But they are constantly burning so much energy that they must spend all day looking for food, only taking short rests in the shade.
Hummingbirds are considered nectar feeders, and there was a time when we believed these birds fed only on nectar from flowers. But in more recent times, we realized that they do actually take insects very occasionally, and we suspect it's really just to get some supplemental protein. In terms of the trees and the flowers that the hummingbirds feed on, I would like to highlight that the national tree, the blue maho, is actually one of the favorite flowers of the Dr. Bird.
You can spot the Dr. Bird at many of our public gardens across the island. For example, right here at the Blue and John Crow Mountains National Park, a United Nations educational, scientific, and cultural organization, UNESCO World Heritage Site. Look at that color, shimmering emerald green, and those 2 long tails. Our national bird is certainly a sight to behold.
Garbage collection, maintenance of public sanitary conveniences, upkeep of cemeteries, provision of water shops, road improvement, street lights, poor relief programs, community beautification. All these services are funded by you. Yes, they are, when you pay your property tax. Pay your annual property tax to make Jamaica the place of choice for all.
Heroes Weekend is fast approaching. Go out and sightsee in the island's most westerly parish.
You may know it for its 7 miles of pristine coastline, its unmistakable sunsets, or moving houses on trailers. You may see it in the news for its motorcycles, but there's so much more to the island's most westerly parish. We decided to give you a little peek. So come now, come around the bend with us in Westmoreland.
Come and get your fish at the border. We have our nice seafood. We have conch, we have steamed fish, we have bami, we have soup. If you come to the border, believe you me, you will never stop coming to the border.
If you're looking for an in-depth history lesson, you won't find it in this feature. Be sure to head on over to jis.gov.jm for a parish profile. What you'll get though is some good food and some breathtaking sights around these parts. When sugar was king, it was the center of economic life. And it was from these lands that Jamaica's road to independence was paved. Just look up the 1938 riots and the passage of universal adult suffrage in 1944. Up the road and round the bend, you'll find persons who came here to supply manpower. Yes, we're talking about Chinese and Indian indentured servants, and their influences live on. Negril is not the only capital of casual here in Westmoreland. What do you think about Bluefields?
Yeah, you can come and get your fresh fruit in White House.
Come and visit Peter Touch home, Belmont, Westmoreland. We all over there hang out and go and eat fish and ital.
Yeah, and the people coming down at the old wharf near to the front of the MCB bank there. But the mutual ship is good.
We came further up the hill, round the bend, to a place called Good Hope in Westmoreland, where our locals told us about a great house, right? The Whitehall Great House.
Great House.
This is our tour guide. He's a former worker there, Mr. Seaford Pringle. Right. He was just telling us about the produce that came from there.
Yeah.
You said logwood.
Logwood, pimento.
Pimento.
Yeah.
Seaford, thanks for sharing the great house with us. And see you next time.
You're welcome.
You've seen our mountains, you've seen our springs, you've even seen our rivers. But did you know that we have a blue hole too? We're going to check that out right now. Westmoreland is also home to the Seaford Town German settlement. It's too far up the road for today, but you can visit when you have some time. They have a museum and the people are very warm and welcoming. Just tell them the JIS sent you.
One love, one heart. Come on down to Negril. You're gonna feel alright.
The tour done. I hope you had fun and you learned a little bit more about this Western wonderland called Westmoreland.
water is precious. So we encourage everyone to practice the 4 R's of water conservation. Always remember to reduce your use of water wherever possible. Replace water wasting devices with water savings devices. Reuse water wherever possible. And wherever leaks are found, please repair them and repair them quickly.
Don't delay. Practice the 4 R's of water conservation today.
That's all the time we have allotted on this station. Be sure to join us tomorrow for another informative program. We're available at your convenience online. There's our website, our YouTube channel, and pages on all the major social media platforms. You may also connect with us by downloading our mobile app. On behalf of the entire team here at DJIS, I'm Sandra Clark. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On point, dissecting the issues. Offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access. Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
How much do you know about the LPO industry? Well, today you are in luck. We are here at the Norman Manley Law School for JAMPRO's Legal Process Outsourcing Forum. I'm your host, Amita Prasadweb. Please stay tuned.
So this forum is designed to define and explain legal process outsourcing. What are the risks? What are the challenges? We're aware that India is often given as the model for legal process outsourcing. And some of the similarities with our jurisdiction is that we have a common law system. We have lawyers who are trained proficiently in English. We have a tradition of an independent judiciary. I think it's on display right now. We also have, and I'm sure former graduate would agree with me, freedom of the press. And therefore, we have all the groundwork for being very similar to being very successful with LPO. But there are challenges, and we need to know them. And so I'm sure that this forum today is going to identify those for you. We hope that it will be a market that in 10 years from now, Jamaica will be a major player, but that we've managed all the risks and we're not doing it at a low level, but we are actually ensuring that we're engaging in high-level skills.
Legal process outsourcing is simply the activity of retaining non-traditional service providers in the legal space to do certain kinds of legal work for companies and law firms in developed countries.
So I don't need to be a lawyer?
It depends on the work that you're doing. So, legal process outsourcing can involve work that doesn't necessarily require a lawyer, but generally speaking, lawyers are the ones delivering these services. Some countries have moved first on the opportunity to capitalize on some of this work now flowing out of places like North America and the UK. And those countries have certain things in common. They have a large number of English-speaking legal professionals. They have good IT infrastructure or ICT infrastructure. And they can deliver legal work, certain kinds of legal work, or in fact, a lot of the legal work we do for lower rates and at least comparable quality. The legal industry latched on to this LPO idea, and that's reflected in the value of the LPO industry. So in 2016, estimates vary, but reasonable estimates have the LPO industry in 2016 at $4 billion US. By 2024, estimates have the industry at 40 billion, around 40 billion US dollars. That's not just significant money, but it's even more significant growth over a very short time. Now, when I see these numbers, I think, how do we and how does Jamaica participate in this growth in a meaningful way? How do we get a sliver of that $40 billion that's up ahead? We don't need the entire 40, and in fact, we can't have the entire 40 billion. We need a sliver of that 40 billion. This is substantial business, and Jamaica is in a good position to participate in that in some way. We need to determine what that way is and how we do that. Currently, there are 6 key areas that are outsourced from North America and the UK. There's contract drafting, which involves playing a role in the process of how contracting is done by lawyers for their clients. So often you find, the contract, a draft is sent, it's negotiated, it's signed, but then everybody sets that down and it's forgotten. Nobody tracks the risks, nobody tracks the life cycle of that contract, whether they're staying inside the provisions or not, and that's become a key area for LPOs. LPO providers have gone to companies and said, well, let's take that off your hands. That's relatively low value but high risk work. And they handle, some LPOs handle end-to-end. They handle the negotiation of the contracts and management of the life cycle of the contract. Some will manage the life cycle of the contract after it's been negotiated by the company and their lawyers. There's compliance assistance, which is becoming more important these days. And that involves, for example, with the relatively new anti-money laundering regulations in these countries, there are new requirements on companies to be able to satisfy these compliance obligations. And again, high risk, but to the overall company, low value. And this, again, is one of the areas where LPOs are doing well at going to the companies and offering well-trained lawyers to take care of this piece of what the company has to do. E-discovery, which is where I started as it relates to LPO activities, is the biggest piece of the LPO market currently, and is one of the areas set to, as you will see later once we get to that section of the presentation, set to experience the biggest piece of the growth going forward. And e-discovery, for those who don't know, involves the disclosure and production of documents in litigation or in some regulatory context, like securities. And that's the whole process of collecting those documents, getting them into a format that lawyers can review, having lawyers review them, determining what is to be disclosed and what is to be produced, and then producing those documents to a regulator or to the other side of a litigation. In a nutshell, that's what that is. Again, high risk, but to the company overall, low value, but also high cost if you continue to do this in North America or the UK. Some LPOs are in the business of what they call managed review. So irrespective of what the review is, whether it's in the litigation context or regulatory context or otherwise, you have tons of documents to review. They will provide you with the project managers, the technology, and the processes by which you can accomplish what you need to accomplish with this review of documents. Patent support is another area where significant growth is expected over the next few years. And this goes anywhere from managing patent portfolios to the actual filing of patents, which has increased relatively significantly in North America in the last couple of years. Litigation support is really a sub piece of e-discovery. And that's some of the more technical, technology-driven pieces of the process where, the documents, for example, you go into a company, you collect their documents from their IT infrastructure. It would be really inefficient for a lawyer reviewing those documents to be opening each document, to be requiring the native application to open each of these documents. So PowerPoint, you have to open in PowerPoint and review. Then you have to open Word in Word. Litigation support offers the ability to convert those documents relatively quickly into a seamless format where a lawyer can review document by document and provide his or her input on those documents in a seamless way. But that's really a piece of the e-discovery process. So the US and Canada are generally outsourcers, but are also outsourcing locations because there are firms in the US and Canada where companies will outsource their work, their alternative legal services providers operating in those countries as onshore outsourcers. The UK in Europe is a big outsourcer, and again, also has some onshore outsourcing happening. In Asia Pacific, India is the big one. Australia is coming on stream. China for very particular functions in the space. Brazil and Mexico, not quite there. But South Africa is one of the leading jurisdictions for LPO services. You have a company like Exigent, for example, that operates out of South Africa. And we'll talk about this again later, but all these outsourcers, one of the key success factors for them is having boots on the ground in the countries from which the work is being outsourced. I operate in the Canadian market, so I thought I'd use Canada as an example to show you the kind of growth that's expected for the LPO industry in each of these areas that we just talked about. And you'll see that e-discovery, patent support, and litigation support are by far the largest benefactors of the growth we'll see going forward. This information is there to plant the seed in your mind as to if you're thinking about getting into this space, where do you focus your energy? It makes sense to focus your energy on the areas where big growth is expected.
How much do you believe in the viability of the LPO sector here, and why?
I think it's a quite viable sector in Jamaica for a number of reasons. So first is Jamaica has a big supply of well-trained English-speaking lawyers who are able to deliver quality service for lower fees than companies or law firms can get in certain jurisdictions. Jamaica is also strategically located in the world. So we're right in the backyard of North America, for example, where we can almost seamlessly become a part of a legal team in that country, being on the same time zone, for example. We're close enough to the UK and have strong enough ties with the UK to be able to be an extension of a UK team as well. We have a common law, in legal infrastructure in Jamaica. There are legislation and laws in Jamaica that are modeled off laws from some of these countries as well. So it's not an unfamiliar place to do that kind of work or that kind of business.
A few of the challenges that were mentioned earlier in regards to location, time zone, scalability, and then privacy. Can you speak to some of that?
I'll take scalability first because I think that's one of the bigger limiting factors for Jamaica. If you compare Jamaica to India, for example, which is one of the main outsourcing locations in the world, the population is massive in India, and the number of well-trained lawyers you might get in India is a lot larger than it is in Jamaica. And Jamaica is restricted by the fact that we're not really that many people when you compare us to other places in the world. But what's interesting to note, though, is the impact that technology is having on some of the services that are outsourced is actually, I think, is a positive for Jamaica. Because with the technology now, you need less people to be delivering these services. And so I think that puts Jamaica in even a stronger position going forward. The LPO industry is rapidly growing. I mean, estimates vary, but we're looking at growth between 2016 or 2017 of from 4 billion US to 40 billion US. That's a massive compounded annual growth rate for that industry. And I think that shows us the kind of promise that's in that space for countries like Jamaica that's already doing very well in the general business process outsourcing space. It excites me particularly because it's a means by which Jamaica can add some sophistication to what we're able to deliver in terms of labor, in terms of work, and being able to insert Jamaicans into the international, the global value chain in the way that we can insert Jamaican lawyers in the value chain, I think is an exciting thing for Jamaica.
Speak to us about the LPO forum today at the Norman Manley Law School.
All right, so we decided to have this LPO forum because one of the things we're trying to do is start the LPO industry because it's one of the industries that's growing rapidly worldwide. And I believe there's a tremendous opportunity for Jamaica to carve out a niche in this space. As you know, we have already been successful in the business process outsourcing industry. In a number of industries, we are doing it in healthcare, we're doing it in tech support, we're doing it in finance and accounting, we're doing it in HR. So we've been very successful in that industry. And a lot of the characteristics that drive success in that industry are the same characteristics that can allow us to be successful in the LPO industry.
What would you say are some major challenges for a few of your attendees here today?
To wrap their mind around the changing construct of the way work is done and the changing characteristics of the legal profession. If you think about it, because of globalization, a lot of professions are being disrupted. You'll talk to architects who'll tell you people are now downloading drawings from the internet and just customizing it for the country. If you look at the whole BPO industry, work is sliced up and you have people being hired with no degrees, for example, and they are trained to be specialists in a particular area. So in Jamaica, for example, we have people with 5 CSEC subjects who are doing level 3 tech support in a telecoms environment. Why? Because you can train them and create expertise and excellence, service excellence in people in specific slices. So if you take the area of legal process outsourcing, similarly, there are areas that, whether it be intellectual property, patent registration, contract review. These are areas that you can have highly specialized skills doing work, here in Jamaica. So, I think what we have to wrap our heads around is we need to find the next entrepreneur in this space who will understand the opportunity, put in the hard work to develop it, because it's going to happen, and it's going to happen one of two ways. It's going to happen where either as Jamaicans we take advantage and create the businesses that are serving the world in the legal space, or other companies are going to discover this gem called Jamaica with the number of legal professionals and talent here and set up facilities, and we'll just be working in those facilities.
We're talking BPOs, LPOs now. What's next for JamPro and doing business in Jamaica?
Right. So, we're on a mission. So obviously the BPO industry is, and let me say outsourcing industry, because it's very broad. We're looking to grow that industry significantly. We expect, right now we're at about 32,000 people. We expect to get to about 50,000 in the next 2 years. And we're always looking to enhance the portfolio mix of work that's being done in the country. So like anything else, you're trying to increase the complexity of work being done, because the more complex the work, the higher the pay and the right. So we really have our eyes on two things in that space. So to grow the numbers and to enhance the mix of work being done, because similar, if you think of what happened in the US, right, with outsourcing of manufacturing jobs. The thinking was, we'll outsource these low-end jobs and do the higher value design work. But I think what they forgot in that equation is that not everybody can be a rocket scientist. Right. So you need jobs at all levels. So no different in all outsourcing space, you're going to have jobs at all levels. And what we're always looking to do is enhance the mix of those jobs.
And by now you would have understood what LPO means, but stay tuned for more. We're going to a break.
I'm 36. I'm a husband, a manager, and still very good looking. In 2 hours, I have the most important meeting of my life. But first, it's time to play. Suzuki Vitara.
Violence against women is a violation of human rights. Its impact ranges from immediate to long-term physical, mental, and sexual consequences, sometimes resulting in death. It negatively impacts women's general well-being and can prevent us from fully participating in society. Be a better human being. No more violence against women. No more.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Career Moves has always explored interesting careers, highlighting all you may not have known about them. This season is no different.
Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, Fizzy what? Fizzy who?
When you find a bright boy or girl in the class and people say, what are you going to be? The parents will say, you have to go be a doctor, you have to go be a lawyer. Nobody says you have to go be a politician.
Let me see your hands!
Tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
I'm Jean Laurichin, and I'm the Executive Director of ProCom, ProDev, and CCRP. BATV had heard about our outreach arm, which is a Caribbean community of retired persons, I think BATV is having a very positive impact. And as a result of that excellent feature, we got more members. So clearly people are watching BATV. I always say to my clients, you should have a 360-degree campaign. Do not limit yourself to one media house. And especially those who are in business, I think it's very important to include BATV in their portfolio.
Local law firms, I believe, can create capacity. It doesn't have to be an entire staffing agency. Local law firms can create capacity to train legal staff in the core skills needed in an outsourced project. It's not getting into the subject matter of the foreign law. And then the staffing agencies overseas who already have that capacity can simply identify a Jamaican law firm that has that potential and engage them directly. Or the overseas law firm can engage the person, the entity in Jamaica, directly. And then, this is the message now for the law students, is that you would associate yourself with a law firm or a staffing agency within a law firm, and you would receive information on upcoming legal outsourcing projects that you can apply for. So I would stay in my apartment while I'm studying for the bar and say, okay, I'm sending off my resume to these 20 persons, and then they would now keep in touch with me to say, okay, as soon as you set the bar, you can work on your pending status, and these are the projects. So I could pick, choose, and refuse, generally by the dollar figure, and the interest, because I was thinking also about building my career. So I selected projects in intellectual property, antitrust, and global projects, because I knew I was heading back to Jamaica. But I wanted to have this opportunity to be inside some of the most serious litigation and cases that even when I was back in Jamaica, I would say, oh yes, now it's finally, now they're in court. This is something I worked on 2, 3, 4 years in advance at the discovery stage. So I think what really we'll be looking at would be an LPO litigation manager, somebody who has schooled themselves in those different software that I mentioned before, and sort of had some sort of association with a particular jurisdiction, and is comfortable, whether you have a JD or you are trained in the UK, or you have been trained by someone who has been exposed to the ins and outs of that system, which is just a little bit more technical in terms of the expanded way e-discovery or the civil procedure rules are used upfront. We kind of just move into the, and you are ready.